Hi, so today I've got a DIY Halloween tutorial for you guys. I'm going to show you how to make prosthetic cuts and scrapes out of 100% stuff you could find around the house. So no need to go to the store and buy like whatever little cuts and things and fake blood and all that stuff. No need, because you got this video and I'll show you exactly how to do it. I can almost 100% guarantee that you've got this stuff just lying around somewhere in your house. So starting off, I'm going to show you all the supplies you will need for this project. First thing is Elmer's glue, just plain old white glue. Next is cotton balls, which I'm sure you have, just like in your bathroom, closet, or whatever. Third thing is Q-tips. And then what you'll need for the fake blood is either like a marker or red food dye, and both work, so whatever you have. The next thing you'll need is this foundation. This is my mom's actually. She let me borrow it, so I'm sure if you have foundation you could use that, or like just ask your mom, I'm sure she'll have it or whatever. So you'll need this. Also, another thing is petroleum jelly, which this isn't necessary, but it just helps make the cut a little more realistic. So yeah, that's all you need. Literally, that's it. You're gold if you have all this, which I'm sure you do. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I recommend you do is take some cotton balls and just like rip little pieces off. You can do this later, but I find it's easier if you do it before you start sculpting the cut. So once you're finished with that, you can just take the glue and then you'll squirt a little bit onto your hand or wherever actually. That's what I forgot to mention. You can do this practically anywhere on your body, and what I usually use it for is like for zombies. If I want to make someone look like a zombie or myself look like a zombie, you can just like put a few of these on your arms or your face, and like you can make as many as you want. And you can make them all different shapes and sizes, but this is just the shape I'm doing and where I'm doing it for this video. So once you put the glue down, you're gonna put some of the cotton balls that you had ripped up previously on top of the glue. And this is kind of where the Q-tips come in, which I kind of forgot to use. The Q-tips are actually optional, you don't need them. Normally here I'd be using the Q-tips to flatten down the cotton balls and blend them with the glue, but you can use your fingers, it's just easier with the Q-tips. So you can add more glue on top of the cotton balls once you get them down on top of your first layer of glue, and then you'll just add more cotton balls on top of that, and you'll just keep doing that until you've built your cut. So here you can see me using the Q-tip to gently like spread the glue onto the skin. You want it to have like a slope going up so that the skin looks like it's raised up around the cut, and you'll just use the glue to do that and like spread it around. So I actually used the same technique that I'm using here on my brother's face in my other video called Don't Go Inside. It's a short horror film that I made. And I used the same technique except on his face. I put it all around his eye, and I actually used paper to cover up his eye. I glued it around the outside of his eye so it covered up his eye. And I made sure that none of the glue like went on his eyebrow or anything, because you don't want that, it might rip off. But I actually covered all around his eye with glue and paper, and then raised it up with the cotton balls. And then I filled it in with food dye so it looked all red like blood, so it actually caused the effect of like him losing his eye. So that's one other scenario I used this for, and I think it turned out pretty realistic. Now obviously I worked on that a lot longer than I'm working on this one in this video, but as you saw from the picture, if you put time and effort into it, you can get it pretty realistic looking. Here are just a few other effects I created using the same glue method.
A scorched finger, frostbite, and a wire through the cheek.
Once you're finished with the glue and cotton balls, the wound should look something like this. In this next step, we're going to create a little bit of texture within the wound so it looks a little more realistic. To do that, we're going to put a little bit of glue in the center and smear it throughout. After that, we'll apply a little piece of cotton ball in the center and we're just going to flatten it down. Next, we're going to get some foundation on a Q-tip and we're just going to smear it all around the whole cut. You just want to make sure that none of the cotton is visible, at least from the outside. Be sure not to put any of the concealer, foundation on the inside of the cut because that's where the blood's going to go. So you just want to make sure it's all around the outside. Next, I'm going to show you how to use the red marker for blood. Make sure that the marker is like non-toxic or anything, like it's safe on your skin, and you just need to color in the inside of the cut. Just make sure you cover all the cotton, make sure it's all red. So this is the final look for if you're using a marker, but next I'll show you how to use the red food dye, and in my opinion the red food dye looks a little more realistic, so that's what I'd try to go for if you have that. So first you're just gonna get the food dye, and all you really need is 1 drop, and then you'll just use a Q-tip to spread it all around. And it's fine if you get some on the outside of the cut because obviously cuts bleed. The blood's not going to stay within the cut, so you can just like add to that and just like kind of smear it on the outside so it looks a little more real. So after a while, if you've been wearing this, the food dye will eventually like dry out and look kind of dry. So this is where the petroleum jelly comes in. You just need to get a glob of that and just smear it all on the inside of the cut, and this actually makes it stay slimy looking for basically ever because petroleum jelly doesn't dry out or anything. So this is how you get your cuts to last like longer and keep them looking fresh, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the final look. I hope this was an easy tutorial to follow and like it was useful, and hopefully you'll be able to get a lot of frights on Halloween with this realistic gruesome cut. So there you have it. A great way to make realistic cuts out of household items. Like this is pretty close to like the real deal that you would buy from the store. And the cleanup is so easy. Like once it's dry, you can just like peel it right off. Look, I'll show you. And then you can just like wipe the blood off with like soap and water or just like a napkin even. So yeah, this is like a really great way to just not have to do any shopping for like that fake blood or the fake stick-on cuts or whatever, and it's just like so easy. So yeah, I hope this was useful, and I hope you guys will try out my DIY cuts for this Halloween and that it works out well for you. Best of luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and